it's Calxiyn and Hunter here, and what?
Never mind. We're not. Okay, sure.
It's Calxiyn and Hunter here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, you guys should remember you can become a patron on Patreon for only $1 and help support the channel. Yeah. And so today, I don't think we have a lot to talk about, to be honest. Like, it was like, exposition, feelings, and it kind of left me unsatisfied, if I'm honest. And I've gotten that kind of reaction. Remember, this is analysis and comments, so my comments are, I feel unfulfilled. Like, I enjoyed it, like, it was wholesome and pure and nice, but I didn't, like, it didn't fulfill me. It didn't sustain me for the next week.
I feel like in comparison to last episode, a lot of things
everything would fall short, right?
Just
what the fuck can they do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think that was bound to happen, that they couldn't, there's only so many big reveals you can have in such little time, you know?
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. It's just compared to last week, we're all like, huh. Anyway, so let's start from the very beginning. That scene with Blake and Sun getting people to help them went on a little too long. Like, it was kind of funny at the beginning, but I'm like, okay, we get it. Nobody wants to help them.
It was like 10 seconds too long. 15
exactly.
seconds too long.
Like, I did, though, appreciate that guy that was, like, ready to go, and then his mom was like, get back inside, even though he looks like a grown-ass man.
Yeah,
like, I thought that was hilarious.
Man living in a hut with his mother.
I know. It kind of reminds me of Les Mis. If that makes sense. I just watched Les Mis, so that's probably why. The musical, I bootlegged it. I was watching it the other day. See, I stopped after the war. I stopped after Eponine died. Like, that's my place where I stopped.
Because
like, that's the ending.
Lane is enough to know who Eponine is.
Yeah, and so, anyways, it kind of reminds me of that, how there's all these...
Her name sounds like a branded antidepressant.
How there's all of these schoolboys that kind of want to fight, meanwhile nobody else wants to fight because they're not fucking idiots, and, like, the kids are all sort of idiots sort of thing. But they kind of win in the end. It's complicated. The French Revolution is complicated.
No shit.
So, you know, we don't want to boil it down to that, but at the same time, that's what it reminded me of. Like, this random-ass kid that was like, oh, sure, I'll go to war and be the hero, and his mom was like, no, you fucker, like, you're...
Get back here.
Get back inside! Anyways, so that was interesting. Menagerie has some nice fucking environment. Let me just say. Like, it has some nice environment.
Good place to... I was about to say...
You're level 1, do not fight here. Go back to the beginning, like a normal-ass man, and fight... where you're supposed to.
In a pink dress.
Yeah. Anyways, so Menagerie has some nice background, man. Like, did you see that, like, pink tree, like, in the opening? Like, that was a nice pink tree, okay?
When we were watching that, you said, pink tree! Or something like you
I follow
really
the person that does the environments on Twitter, like, the head of the environmental team, because obviously he doesn't do them all by himself. I don't remember his name now, and I was just like, listen, like, you got some nice fucking trees, man. He never replied. It's a sad day for everyone. Anyways, the other thing I want to bring up is mermaids. So, there was this girl that definitely had a fishtail, and I approve of that.
Imagine being that fucking... Imagine, like, if you were born, like, in a landlocked area, and you were the mermaid faunist.
I mean, I'm sure they can travel, like, to an extent.
Yeah, because I'm assuming you should...
I'm sure there's some sort of underwater city situation going on.
We need to go and get signatures in Atlantis, son. Yeah. Come on.
Like, you know how in is it BioShock that has the underwater?
Yes, that's BioShock.
Yeah, or Neo Yokio, depending on which source material you want to reference for this video. But I don't know, though, if the fishtail would be their one trait and so they can't breathe underwater, or if that would be included in the fishtail.
No, I feel like she could. She would just have, like, a really difficult time. Like, you know, being faunist is all good and stuff, but I would
love to be a mermaid faunist. I don't know what you're talking about.
Being a
I
mermaid
would love to be a mermaid.
You
don't get any periods, okay? Your hair is long and majestic like a mermaid.
Also, like, if she is a mermaid, I don't think that she's a mermaid. Because you never quite see
I looked at it, it looks like that she has one big tail with a fin at the back.
I feel like she'd have two fins, like, on her leg, like
that
how some people
could be possible, but the way she swam away made it look like she had a tail.
Because, like, being a mermaid would suck. Like, you have no... How would they reproduce?
You clearly see, like, almost, like, the fin or whatever, like, at the end, and then you see the other girl has the 2 legs, and she just has them together while she's swimming away. Does that make sense? Because there were 2 girls, right?
Your legs are kind of together when you swim.
Yeah, and so there was the girl with the legs together, but then there was the other girl. You can use those 2 shots to compare, because even though they're going in a different direction, you can still see their legs. And so, like, frankly, she looked like she had a fishtail.
Well, her
I
legs
could be
were more
wrong.
underwater.
We didn't really see her that well, but, like,
It's
she
just
has
like-
something going on.
It's like, I'm sure they were just like, wouldn't it be fun if we had a mermaid? And then
I mean, it's
feel like
realistic, like, in terms of how the faunus traits work.
Is
It's
it,
not,
though?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
how would you
because
have
your tail is
genitals?
a trait.
How would she have
But
genitals?
remember, the faunus...
How would she reproduce?
Okay, listen. Remember that the faunus are also randomized, right? Like, if 2
Yeah.
faunus have, like, a child, it's a random faunus, and which doesn't make any sense, but whatever. It's a random one, right? And so, that's how there could be that mermaid population, is other people are fucking, and, it just happens. Or, remember, fish faunus being with humans, right? Because if that happens, she's still a fish faunus, right? She's just a different type of fish faunus. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yes.
And so it's, like, all the other fish faunus reproduce and get the mermaid ones. Is what I'm talking about.
Imagine if you were a rabbit and a dog and you got a fucking mermaid and you're like, well, let's dump her by the lake.
Well, yeah, that's kind of how it goes,
presumably
I guess.
you would have gills or you would have...
Well, that guy had the fish ears, and then you have the people with the fins on their arms, and then it's a very different
So,
sort
but
of...
none of them would have gills, so you couldn't breathe underwater, so presumably she could
Yeah,
live
and that's
on
why
land.
I'm wondering about the fish girl that had the tail. Because I'm like, what? But you saw those shops were in the water, right? And so they obviously built a friendly environment.
And
Who knows? Maybe their tail has gills on them, right? Because that's where... I mean,
no, gills are not on your tail.
Listen,
They're like up by their face.
okay.
Have you seen?
How
a
does
fish
a little
before?
how do regular mermaids, like Ariel and stuff,
Hey.
breed underwater? It's fucking magic, okay?
It
Leave
is
it alone.
magic. I'm just saying, like it's
Hunter, this world has gods, okay? I'm not gonna question. I'm not gonna question it. I'm not gonna question it.
Cal,
Okay, she probably doesn't breathe underwater.
Cal,
They probably have like water huts or
Cal,
something, and they live in their
you
water
of all
huts.
people cannot get mad at me for over-analyzing this show.
I know, but like
okay?
I'm just saying that like they're probably not like Ariel mermaids. They're probably more like, yeah, we have like water huts, but we can't breathe underwater because sucks to suck, man. But yeah, who knows? I don't. Like, you know, I'm not gonna ask. We didn't see her clearly enough to know whether it was just a giant fin on the back of her legs, but it looked like she had a tail.
But goddamn, we will talk about it for 5 minutes.
It looked like she had a tail. Anyway, so I like how Blake kind of made a good point. Like, everybody came to Menagerie to get away from fighting, and now they're all in their face trying to make them fight, and so of course they're gonna say no. That's kind of common sense. So I appreciate that Blake is a little more level-headed than Sun here, because obviously she knows the population. Sun has never been there before, so he doesn't fucking know what's going on, you know what I mean? And so this scene was nice, like, in terms of exposition, but we, as the audience, already got it about Ilya,
Yeah.
right? Because we saw it already, and so I was a little annoyed by that. Sun trying to awkwardly ask if Blake and Adam were dating was horrible and cringy, and I wish I didn't have to witness it, but I think it was supposed to be horrible and cringy for us as the audience.
They wanted to punish us.
Yeah,
for what
a
we've
little
done
bit. Like, I don't
to
think it
these
was supposed to be
characters.
like, haha, look how stupid Sun. I don't think it was supposed to be like that. I think it was
meant to
more
be
like, this
awkward.
is uncomfortable.
But it's like, yeah, someone was fucking their boss, you know?
But yeah, because Sun was like, is Adam's the guy you used to work with? And then Blake's just like, yes. And then, like, that conversation does not continue. But I like how she kind of describes, like, Team RWBY. She says that, like, she's trying to explain Adam in a way that Sun will understand, like, in very simple one-word answers. And so he's like, okay, well, you see RWBY, she's purity. You see White, she's defiance. You see Yang, she's strength, okay? Now picture Adam. Like, it's a very, I don't want to say she's dumbing it down for him, but you can't, like, possibly understand, like, you don't have the same understanding as you would with being with, like, Adam for the past 7 years or whatever, right? And so she's trying to give him a way to understand it in, like, a simple, like, one word. So he is the manifestation of spite. And I think that's something easy for us to imagine, even as, like, the...
Especially as a spiteful person yourself, Cal.
Well, anyway, and so, like, I like how she described Yang as strength, though, but I wish there was something more in her face when she thought about Yang. But I guess she forgot that her arm got cut off, like, I don't know. But yeah, it was cute, and then Sun's like, well, what about me? Like, he doesn't even say anything about Team RWBY, and I was like, okay, Sun, you chill. But to be honest, I would probably do that too, because I would want to know about myself. I don't give a fuck about you, RWBY. I know you're pure, it's okay.
Also, when I heard pure for RWBY, I'm like, I guess that works, yeah.
And so
I would say bubbly,
Blake said that Sun is earnest, and I thought that that was interesting, because, like, even though, like, he may go about it the wrong way, he does have good intentions, and I feel like that was well conveyed here. The other thing is that I like how Blake kind of was just like, listen, the reason why I won't give up Ilya is the same reason why you didn't give up on me, sort of thing. Like, even though I pushed you away, you still tried. Tried your best, and even though you were fucking annoying, listen, it all worked out, okay? So that's what I'm just gonna annoy the fuck out of Ilya. I'm gonna, like, follow her and then put her on a boat, and we're gonna go home. That's basically what's happened.
Stockings, kids.
But yeah, I really like that their little conversation there, because I like that Blake is, like, even though she made it clear she was kind of cheesed about what Sun was doing, in my opinion, she also was like, hey, but, you know, sometimes, like, I needed it. You're just, you had earnest intentions, but you kind of went about them a little strange. But, you know, she's kind of taking what Sun did and trying to use that for Ilya, which I think is good, because you should always learn from other people's mistakes so you don't make them yourself.
Not
instead of
your
learning
mistake,
from your... Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying. But, you know, she made some good points. Like, I think that the thing with Sun is that no character is perfect because no person is perfect. And so, even though we may look at what Sun did and go like, really? Like, at least Blake sees it for, you know, what it was, and it was an earnest attempt at trying to help, even if he didn't exactly know how to do that. And, like, with Blake, it's kind of the same thing, that she's gonna attempt to help Ilya in her own way, even though as an audience we may be like, what the fuck are you doing? Because I feel like a couple people were like that with what Sun was doing, but it's the same thing, you know, like, people are human and they're gonna try to do things in their own way. She's gonna try to save Ilya in her own way, and I think that we all just need to go along with that.
I feel like you treat these characters as you treat them as more real than people in your own life.
I know, and that's the thing. And so that's what I'm saying, because, like, a lot of people are like, oh, Blake's so whiny, and she's so emo,
you just have
and
the
she,
strangest empathy gap in your life. It's like...
and, like, no, oh, I hate how Blake deals with Sun. Like, listen, okay, she's a human, alright?
You have to worry about Blake's feelings, a fictional character, but God forbid people in your actual life, Cal.
I don't care about you guys, though. That's the thing. Like, I don't care about people in my actual life. I care about these characters. Whatever. Anyway, I like how she said Adam was justice, then Adam was passion, and then Adam was spite. And so I wonder if she means, like, a romantic passion or a passion to help the Faunus. Because, you know, we did have that little, like, so Adam was your, boy.
What?
Like, you know, so I don't know about that.
Because, like, I feel like that was Sun's, like, listen, right? These writers are gonna make Black Sun happen, most likely.
I mean, she didn't say, like, Sun, you are the definition of, like, beauty, you know what I mean? If Sun, your word is handsome.
If Blake and Yang were doing this, you'd be fucking screaming from the rooftops right now.
Yeah,
right?
But, like, Yang's a different character. Sun wasn't like, so, like, Blake, what about me? You know what I mean? Like, he didn't say it flirtatiously, he just genuinely wanted to know.
No, he was, like, if Yang did that.
If Blake said that Yang is the definition of beauty, then I'd be gaying, but she just said that Sun was earnest. Right? That's a non-relationship trait.
No, I mean the earlier stuff with, like, your boyfriend. Like,
oh, you mean that?
If
that was still... If Yang did that, it would be even more awful because she got her arm cut off by Adam. And it would be an even more awkward situation because it would be like, hey, your ex-boyfriend cut off my fucking arm. Nothing, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys, like, I understand what you're saying, like, that there may be a bias, but not in this instance, because, like, it would be even more cringy if Yang said that. Like, in terms of uncomfortability of the audience, rather than, like, cringy for the character.
That would be
because
great.
What Sun said wasn't really cringe for him, it was cringe for everyone else. You know what I mean? Because Sun doesn't know any better, but we as the audience see that and we're like, yikes, why did you do that?
I dislike the word cringe.
It's okay.
The use of the word cringe makes me cringe.
I know. But you understand what I'm saying, right? If Yang asked that, it would make me just as uncomfortable, like, as an audience member, but it would probably also be interesting, because then Yang would be like, so, like, what kind of, like, what did you do to Adam exactly, Blake, you know what I mean? because, and we'll get to Adam later in the episode, because he seems to be Joffreying it up. He seems to be going a little crazy, but we'll get to that. You know what I mean?
Especially Fergus and what's his face.
Anyways,
we're a little I'm just gonna refer to both of them together.
So getting away from that. I like how Oscar is scared and fragile, and how he's like, RWBY, like, how do you do it? And like RWBY's like, I don't, like, not really. Like, you know, we just have to kind of try to stay positive because we want to help people. And like, I knew that they'd do the same for me, sort of thing. And like that, I want to do a better video on this because we talked about in like a theory, I guess, like way back we talked about like that RWBY may have some underlying PTSD and stuff, but for this, like, I think it's more like she said that she's scared too, but she's not really trying to reveal how much yet, if that makes sense. Like, she is being honest with him, but at the same time she's still trying to be hopeful, and I feel like that hope will get to a breaking point. And that is kind of what I want to talk about separately. But do you get that vibe, too? Because when she said, you know, we'll, like, eventually we'll all be combat ready, and then she looked down and thought about Penny and stuff like that. Like,
and then she went on a monologue about Pyrrha and Penny.
Yeah, and so even though, like, that seemed very wholesome, like, oh, you know, like, we just have to stay positive because, like, even though we've lost people, we gotta keep trying. Like, she seems, like, genuinely that she is gonna break soon, especially when she said that thing about Salem. Like, Salem will kill anybody no matter what, and that's what scares me most of all, sort of thing, that it's not a battle between, like, good and evil anymore. It's just kind of, like, using other people for your needs, which is evil, but it's not like Salem is, like, punishing people that, like, have sinned, let's say. You know, it's not like it's, like, ideals of justice that Salem's going off of. In her opinion, it's using people for her needs, but at the same time, that was all Cinder. We still don't know what Salem wants, and so I think that we have to remember that even though that's RWBY's perspective, that doesn't mean it's necessarily true, because that's what Cinder did, and that fits a lot better with Cinder's characterization, like, using people for her needs sort of thing. But Salem values working with others, right? And so we have to kind of wonder, you know, if that's true for both Cinder and Salem, or if RWBY is just projecting her thoughts about Salem based off of what Cinder did. And I feel like that's very important for us as an audience to keep in mind.
Sure.
Are you just like, yeah.
You go rant, Cal.
But you understand what I'm saying, right? Like, we can't... RWBY hasn't even met Salem. She doesn't know anything about Salem. She's just looking at what Cinder did and saying that Salem told her to, almost. Whereas, you see someone like Adam, and how Adam is sort of directly kind of disobeying what Cinder said, you know, like, to work with others and stuff. And, like, Hazel was trying to get Sienna to work with him, not kill her, right? Yeah. And so, she didn't see that. She didn't see that, you know... Salem is also somebody that negotiates, and so she's projecting what she feels about Cinder onto Salem, kind of to change Salem's characterization in her own head, I feel. Like, to make it so Salem isn't really, I don't want to say not a person, but that she's just simply evil when that may not actually be the case at all. But that makes it easier for RWBY, and that's what I kind of want to talk about, is, like, her coping and stuff. Anyway, though, that was a pure, wholesome scene. Oscar crying, like, kind of broke my heart a little bit. And I like how Ozpin just stayed out of it. Like, Ozpin did not do anything in that instance. Like, Ozpin was just chilling, because I think he wanted to see how RWBY felt and stuff. What I am kind of angry about, though, is that John just kind of forgot that he was mad with Ozpin about Pyrrha, and, like, hasn't tried to talk to Oscar about that.
Well, what the fuck is he gonna talk about? I don't know. I feel like maybe that happens later.
Like, maybe, I guess, but, like, John seems to have forgotten, like, stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he seems to forget how mad he was at Ozpin. And I get that, like...
Was he mad at Ozpin?
He was a little bit, because he's like, you sent Pyrrha out to die, remember? He was all angsty at Crow in Volume 4, and he just kind of, I don't know, got over it or something. I just wish that we saw more of Jean's, like, animosity towards Oscar, if there is any, and there should be, in my opinion. But I think we saw that a little bit. Like, he won't look Oscar, like, very directly in the eye. He's kind of awkward around him, you know? He doesn't really want to talk to him. He's still being an angsty boy. So there you go. In terms of other things, so now we know that Corsic and Finnick they don't have all of that much faith in Adam, if that makes sense. Like,
They're
still, like,
worried.
they're a little worried. They're like, are you sure he's the one to lead the Faunus? And so that gives me the impression Corsic and Finnick are not evil bad guys.
No,
like,
it's
they
not
just
even,
want
no, it's not that. They
somebody
just,
to lead the Faunus.
No, they were just
and they're following
concerned
orders.
that he was maybe, like it was, you know, a little much for him. And then
Yeah.
the one of them was just like, he's very stressed. I don't see that as them being like, why don't we get this asshole?
Well,
More
I mean,
like,
they were kind of like that. Like, are you sure he's fit to lead us? And then they were kind of debating about that. Like, they seem like they want what's best for their people, and they think Adam is what's best, right? They don't seem like evil.
No, they're not. Well, I mean, they're not like malicious and that.
Yeah, that's
they're
what I
just
mean.
in
I
it
don't.
For the fun of it, no.
Yeah, I don't think they're trying to do what they think is right. They've also sort of been brainwashed in a sense, right? Like, the more that we see this, the more they look like a freaking cult.
Well,
like,
they are a cult.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, with all of the, like, religious imagery, too, it seems like the White Fang is less of... I don't want to say less of a terrorist group, because a lot of terrorism is kind of intertwined in, like, brainwashing people with, like, extremist religion. But, like, it's definitely... It's given me some more culty vibes at the current moment than terroristy, if that makes sense. But we can have both, obviously. Good thing these things don't happen in the real world, Hunter, and they only happen in the fictional world of anime. I stole your quote. Remember you said that last week? But anyways. And so they don't seem evil anymore just based off of their conversation, because we were like, oh, we hate them, they're spies, but now they just seem more like Ilya, where they're okay people, they're just a little misled. They're just slightly misled. Are you disagreeing with me, or you're like, why?
I disagree with you. It's just like, I feel like you're looking too much into it, and you're like, because the conversation wasn't that long, it was more just like,
I mean, they were being kind of nice, like,
they always look kind of nice.
No, I said they were being kind of nice, like, as...
They were just like well,
even talking to each other, they don't need to put up an act, but they seem to be there seem to be some genuine stuff going on with them.
They weren't like, wow, this is going a little too far. They were perfectly okay with murdering Sienna Khan and all that. Like, all they were...
Well, so was Ilya, but...
Yeah, all they were concerned...
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they're all brainwashed.
No, Ilya looked a little more concerned.
Well, yeah, she was just
like,
kind
hey,
of putting
Blake,
on an act, right?
Here.
And that's why I want...
No, I don't think she was If anything, she looked like she was putting on an act with
Corsic in them. That's what I'm saying. And so, like... We'll get to that, but I'm saying that Finnick and Corsic, like, kind of genuinely think that this is what's best, whereas Ilya is pretending. And so it's different levels of... Like,
I mean, people who
it's different levels of brainwashed.
People who do bad shit don't think they're doing bad shit. But
I know.
That's not what you were saying. They thought that, like, they didn't think they were... anyways.
I'm saying that, like, it's different levels of brainwash is what I'm saying. Like, with Tyrion, he knows what he's doing is wrong. Like, with Salem's crew, they know that they're being evil. If that makes sense.
Well, we don't even know what their thing is, so we can't even
Yeah, but we've
that
seen
yet.
what Cinder's done. She's kind of in it for the fun a little bit, you know? She likes, you know, doing her sexy spy suit stuff and, like, corrupting the CCTV tower. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Cinder, like, kind of more, I think, enjoys it a bit more. But Corsic and Finnick don't read me as somebody who's kind of enjoying murdering people.
I think that's just her cockiness.
And then, well, Tyrion is the same thing. He was like, sure, like, I'll go get her. And look at how much fun Tyrion was having when he was kicking Crow's ass. Like, you know what I mean? And so, that's just what I mean. You guys can, like, comment and tell me what y'all think about that. But that was yeah, I know. That was personally what I thought of it anyway. Like, it just seems to me like there are different levels, you know, like, there isn't just good or just evil. They're in an interesting gray area similar to Ilya. That's all I mean to say. And so now they really want to kill, like,
they don't see gray. When I see gray area, I see conflicted. They don't look conflicted.
Gray area doesn't need to be conflicted, though. Like, okay, so think of, like, the, you know, the lawful good, lawful evil, and lawful neutral, right? Like, if you want to go, like, the D&D route. Like, at least,
I feel like we're taking way too much time
they're on sides of, they're on different sides. You know, there's 6 different things that they could be. They could be in the neutral zone in any of those things, or they can be in the evil zone in any of those things. So that's 6 different, like, categories to put them in.
9.
To me, they're 9. No, because they're not good.
Oh.
So I eliminated that. And so, to me, they're lawful something, kind of. Like, That's kind of how I see them.
I don't know anything about D&D, so.
Okay, but whatever. But yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's just like Ilya, like our poor baby. You know, they're just having some issues. It's okay. And so I don't know. That redeemed them a little bit because, like, I think the fandom was too quick to say, "Oh, they're evil. They're working with Adam." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's a bit different. Now.
No, I don't. Anyways, whatever. They don't seem conflicted about what they're doing. They're all in.
They don't need to be conflicted,
they
though.
They think what they're doing is good, but everyone who's fucking crazy thinks what they're doing is good.
Yeah, but it's different than Adam, because Adam, I think, knows what he's doing is bad, but he's doing it all out of spite.
Yes.
Right? And that's kind of what they explained, right? And so they're not spiteful people.
Nice to know you're really good at concisely explaining your ideas, Cal.
Well, you keep disagreeing with me, so I have to keep kind of reforming my thoughts in a way that I think that you'll understand.
So next one, the more interesting thing that has happened that I've been waiting to talk...
So...
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay,
yeah.
so,
what?
like, with Ilya, I feel like you're right. She was kind of... I feel like Ilya was more conflicted and more, like... I don't want to say pissed about Sienna's death, but she was really putting on a show for them, I feel. Especially because you see, like, when she heard Sienna died, like, she did this, like, thing with her hand. Like, she squeezed her fist and she unsqueezed this, like, almost kind of to tell herself, hey, listen, calm down, you gotta keep pretending for a while.
She was, like,
and you saw her hesitation with Blake, right?
She was overly, like, monotone with it, too.
And we've seen Ilya isn't
herself.
like that. Like, with her personality, she's very, like, you need better security. Like, she's very... I don't want to say she's bubbly, because I don't think that's the right word, but she's very, like... She has a jokey sort of way about her when she's been talking.
She has some level of humanity to her voice.
Like, when she was talking to Blake, right? And so you see now, it seems like she's just, like... pretending, and she really doesn't want to hurt Blake, but then they're like, no, like, listen, Blake will be fine, like, Adam wants her alive, and Ilya's just like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like Ilya doesn't give a shit about Blake's parents to an extent.
She was worried, I know, she seemed to be worried about the
She seems more worried about Blake than she does about the parents.
Which makes me think that
and she lost her own parents,
save
remember?
Blake.
And so that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if she's gonna be more conflicted because she doesn't want to orphan Blake like she was, but then maybe on the other hand, if Blake's parents are gone, maybe she'll join the White Fang again, sort of thing. Like, I don't know Ilya's thought process, but those are some ideas. Also, I wonder where Sun falls in this. Like, do they give a shit?
Sun's here just for, like, I don't know, comedic relief.
Because I wonder, now that I'm looking at it, I really wonder if Sun's gonna die. Like, you know, like... I don't know if they'd kill him off that soon, but at the same time, like, look at all of these scenes with him, right? And I want to do a separate video on if, like, Blake's family is actually gonna die. But think about it, right? They have this nice, heartfelt scene where Blake, like, finally accepts, you know, Sun's intentions, right? And says that he's earnest and that he taught her something, right? Like, there are death flags going on in my head anyway. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, just how, like, they had this wholesome, nice conversation about, like, how she views Sun and everything, and, like, how Sun helped her, kind of, like, made her realize it's time for her to help her friends, and now, like, imagine if he died now, and he was like, well, don't worry, Blake, you still have to go and, like, help your friends like you promised, you know what I mean? And so that would be a very interesting death scene, and people are worried that they're gonna do it, and so I'm leaning into the direction that he might, like, he may kind of try to sacrifice himself to save Gira, despite their differences this season, and last season.
Differences being, are you fucking my daughter?
Yeah, and so, like, because think about that too, right? If Sun went to save Gira, he was suddenly sort of, I don't want to say suddenly supportive of Gira, but they were suddenly on the same page, like, you got this, like, you know, unbelievable, total garbage, right? And so, this is setting up some interesting stuff for Sun's death, if that's where they're going.
Okay, so I was kind of think in a completely different direction, that Ilya was going to save Blake.
Well, I think she is, but I'm saying that if Sun's at home while Blake is distracted by Ilya, because we see in the OP that they're fighting, right? So say, like, if Sun's not there and Sun's back at the house when these assassins are coming to kill the Belladonna family, what's gonna happen? That's what I'm thinking. Because even in the OP, they're all, like, for Volume 4, they're all on the boat and leaving Menagerie, remember? But at the same time, I think that's kind of... I don't want to say it's fake, but I think that it wasn't about that they were literally on the boat. It's that they were all together in Volume 4, more so. And so now... Do you understand what I mean? So now I feel like he's gonna die. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm getting some death flags for Sun. And you know what? Like, last volume I was kind of salty about him and I wanted him to die. Now that they're setting this up, I feel a little remorseful.
I don't think they're gonna kill Sun.
because it's two things. It either looks like it's setting up a romance or it looks like it's setting up his death. It's hard to tell, like, when you're trying to do, or a romantic death, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Sun finally admits his feelings to Blake when he's, like, sort of saved Gira and he's about to die. Like, it's a number of things that look like it's going on here, but let's move on, because there was something more interesting. There was this guy named Uma, I guess that's his name, and he looks like a dragon. But to me, he seems more like a pterodactyl. So, I would like to do a separate video on this, too. He drowned Gira's messenger, because this has apparently sparked some sort of anger already.
What?
Like, people are angry because, like, dragons are mythical creatures, and if he's dragon, that's too OP.
He had, like, fur on it, feathers.
No,
dragons
not
didn't
really
have,
feathers. Also, dragons did have, dinosaurs had feathers.
And dragons are mythical.
I know.
So
that's, a lot of people are having a slight issue with this. I understand why, and so I'd like to do a separate video on it and explain the concerns of people. That's all. But I think it's interesting that now we have this new sort of antagonist that seems to be, like, top assassin, because he drowned Gira's messenger. He's probably gonna go kill the Belladonna family, and that is gonna be who the conflict is. But he doesn't otherwise look very well designed or unique.
I feel like he looks like not as unique.
He's like villain of the day sort of material.
I almost feel like they just threw him in. Like, I don't think that he'll be that.
We didn't
important.
see all of his clothes though, so
maybe
we don't know.
I don't think he'll be that important.
But I think he's the assassin though they were talking about, right? Because they said, "Oh, don't worry, your brothers and sisters of the White Fang are gonna help you." He seems to be one of the people that are gonna help. But he looks like he has the same hair as the bandits. Like, remember the sleazy bandit? Yeah, he seems like he has the same hair and everything, so I don't know. But they may improve his design later, because it was dark and we didn't really see his clothes.
No, you saw, maybe maybe he has like a mask like Ilya, or who knows.
Yeah, we'll see. But I think he is gonna be important. I disagree. I don't think they'd introduce him like that. Like, as a suspenseful thing.
Important.
No, I think we're gonna leave him behind in this volume, or the next volume. Like, I think he's sort of like Roman, where he's sort of created to be a one-volume antagonist, and then we're never gonna see him again, except everybody liked Roman, and so they brought him back. But that's basically it, for what I have to say. So, is there anything else you want to talk about?
I like the idea of Ilya and Blake and Sun, if he isn't dead, going out on the lamb together. That would be fun.
Going out on the what?
The lamb.
What lamb?
It's
What do you mean?
It's a turn of phrase.
What,
you've never left a house, you've never talked to people.
Yeah, but what does... I've never heard that before.
I don't know where it comes from, Cal. Do you know
But what does it mean?
It means, like, you run away, like, you go into, like, the wilderness, being chased by the law. Like, only your wits about you to survive. Okay. I don't fucking know, Cal. I don't make these things up. Okay. I just use them.
Thanks. And so, yeah.
I like that. It was a really sort of, no Raven. There was no Raven, and I want there to be more Raven. I want to see that conversation. I hope that that's next episode's punch, is the Raven conversation with, Weiss and Yang, possibly even a reunion, or maybe they learn something and they go off and have their own adventure in a completely different splinter storyline. Who knows? Of the budding freezer burn.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, that's
Thanks,
it,
Hunter.
really.
Okay. It's just like I don't know how to respond to that if I'm honest.
Oh yeah, and then, but you know, fucking 7 minutes on a mermaid.
Okay.
Or
it's just like, it's cool, but they're not, I don't think they're gonna do that because the team is partially starting to reunite.
I feel
and
like...
they can't reunite if,
I don't know. I feel like Gira might get kidnapped or something and they escape and maybe that's how they start to reunite with them. It might be like, it might not just be like an episode thing, but like a multiple episodes of them escaping. It might not even show up until not next episode, but episode after that. A lot of things we don't know for certain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I imagine happening. And
I don't know even what's gonna happen even next episode is my question. Like, where are we gonna go from here? Like, are we gonna go back to Weiss and Yang, or...
I also feel like they kind of purposefully stalled RWBY and Juniper's storyline.
Yeah, and I really don't like this. Like, I talked about this in the Discord server, but I don't know. I have a gripe, I guess, with Blake being so far into the past, because that means that nothing they've done has impacted the other characters that are currently in the main story.
If they're in the past, or did they just fuck up?
Like, they are in the past. They're a month behind, right? And so this storyline is in the past, while everyone else is in. Yeah, I think it's been confirmed by now that
really?
they are a month behind everyone, and so.
Or do they just? Well, I mean, stuff can happen, and they can just not hear.
My gripe with it is that if they're in the past, then nothing they've done has seemed to change. They can't change the future of where Juniper and Ruby and everyone is.
Well, I mean, I think they are separated to an extent.
Yeah, and so I'm saying that nothing they did has
really
influenced
been concerned,
them yet.
Or are you pulling that?
I don't know. I think it's been.
I think we just don't.
They say Ozpin says
yes,
1 month, and he says 2 months, right?
But it was but it's a little vague. It was a little vague.
It is,
like
but I'm pretty sure that we've established that
the exact start and then when the attack will occur.
I'm pretty sure that it was established. Or clarified that, yes, that was the intention.
Also, they're so separate, you don't even really know.
And so, I think that was done so Blake could just hop into the future plot and they could easily connect it at a later time, if you want to put it that way. Sure. But I don't like it because all of her actions don't matter. Like, we're just seeing them. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's interesting to see them, they don't influence anything currently going on, and that's kind of lame. And so that's all I wanted to say. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, remember that you guys should become patrons over on Patreon. You guys should join my Discord server. You guys should do all stuff like that. You should do all stuff like that. And so anyway, we'll see you all later. Bye.